What's good, YouTube? What is good? What's going on? Welcome to another night, another edition of Friday Night Sports Talk. And today we got a couple special guests. We got my man Jose On Fire Aguirre from. Tell us about that, right?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that. We got D Free, who's always with us pretty much every week, and we got one of my best friends in the whole wide world, Mr. Socrates Palmer Jr. We got another guest. Hopefully, will be on his way in a little bit as well. And we're just going to get right into it. Salute to everybody that's in the chat. Appreciate you guys coming through. And we're going to get into it. And, we're going to start off with you, Jose. You're going to be kind of like the man of the hour. We're going to talk a little bit about your channel, about, give us a little background and what of you and what got you inspired to get into boxing.
Wow. Well, inspiration to get into boxing was just, growing up in the Bronx, there was not much to do. It was either playing abandoned buildings, playing a lot, or go to the local PAL. And, we did a little bit of abandoned buildings. We did a little bit of the lots. And then we ended up at the PAL in the Bronx at St. Mary's PAL boxing gym. And so the center offered at the time arts and craft, karate, homework help, physical fitness, swimming, and boxing was one of those things. And just as kids who, ran around the Bronx, we just, made our way towards that, with the help of our mother, of course, go do the right thing over there. So that's what steered me into boxing. Just being a kid running around, ended up at the centers, like, here we are.
Nice. And from what Sock was telling me, I mean, you was a fighter, obviously, as well, and you competed in the Golden Gloves, correct?
Yes, I competed in 4 New York City Golden Glove tournaments. In 1996, I fought my first tournament at 156 pounds. When I entered the 156-pound tournament, I did so on the strength of just having heart. I didn't have a trainer. I had a 9-to-5. I went and I competed based off knowing how to fight in the streets. And so I did that, and I won my first fight, and I lost my second fight. And I lost my second fight to a guy who the year before had went with one of the Judah brothers, and his name was Saladin Adil. And so from there, I continued my journey, and I found a guy named Freddie Rivera who was willing to work with me, and we started working. The next year, I went down to 147 pounds, and I lost 2 after my second fight as well. I continued the process. The next year, I went down to 140 pounds, and I turned southpaw. And in that year, at the age of 28, I beat 4 guys, all under the age of 18, and I was 28, and I made it to the finals. And now the story of the finals, there was another young man who was also looking for gold, and his name was Gabriel Bracero. And we both worked out of the same gym, and we were training partners. And his father used to work my corner when I used to fight. And here we are. We eliminated everybody in our way. And us 2 kids from the Sunset Park PAL, we faced each other. Well, a kid and a man, right? And so, the journeys throughout those Golden Gloves leading me to Madison Square Garden, it was great. Now, I lost, right? If you look at the big picture. But if you really look at the big picture, did I really lose, right? Because if you had came into the garden after my fight and you had seen me, you had really thought that I won. You had really thought that I was the Golden Glove champion of 1998. But I was a silver champion. I was a runner-up. But to me, that was my championship because I beat the system. I beat the streets. I wasn't a statistic, and that's why I did boxing, right? because I was in trouble. I was starting to get in more trouble. And I knew there was only 2 routes. So I took the boxing route. And it really made a difference for me. It really did. And so, it was an experience, man. It was an experience.
Nice. And look at what you hear.
So funny.
Go ahead, son.
I was going to say, sorry, Tom. I've known you for quite some years. I never knew that you were a Bronx native. I always thought you were Brooklyn. So how did you, so you were born and raised in the Bronx, and then how did you become a Brooklynite?
Okay, so actually I was born in the Brooklyn. I was born in Brooklyn Hospital, DeKalb, 1969. My mother in the 70s moved to the Bronx.
Okay.
We moved to like 100 and like Morris Avenue, 156, 149, 3rd Avenue. So a few spots we lived in that area. I went to school at IS 62 on Leggett and St. John's. I went to 52 on Kelly. I used to live on Beck Street between Leggett and St. John. I also lived on 134th Street in Alexander and Bruckner. I also lived in Edenwald Projects, 229 Laconia.
By Spelman High School.
I went to, I think, I don't know if it's the same name, but I went to South Bronx High School on 156 in St. Anne's. I don't know if it's South Bronx anymore. I think it's DeWitt or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's a different school.
I also went to Walton High School in the Bronx on the number 4 line. I also did Satellite Academy. Yeah, so I was like, and then around the age of 16, 17, I went back to Brooklyn following the wrong people, doing the wrong things, and that's how I ended up back in Brooklyn.
And all those neighborhoods that you named, if you wanted to get into something bad, it was very accessible. You talk about the South Bronx in the mid 80s. I mean, it's not as crazy as it was back then, but it's still not the best neighborhoods now. So what you said, that boxing really, I don't want to use the cliche, but it saved you, and I think the world is a better place that you chose the right path.
I mean, and it did not even in the Bronx, right? It did for me for what was happening in Brooklyn, right? Because by that time I had already situated myself here. And so what was happening here was what I was trying to steer from, and it worked. I know it's a story about this, that, and a cliche, but it's really what transpired. It's really what happened.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we all have a story. We all grew. I mean, New York, back in the day, it wasn't tough. It may be a little bit easier now, but New York, growing up, depending on where, it's not easy. I mean, Soundview's not easy. I mean, there's other parts in the Bronx. You said Morris and 154th,
156 and Morris.
156 and Morris. That wasn't, a nice area either. I believe you said by Kelly Street. Is that like by Fox? By
Yeah, Fox.
Yeah, that's
Longwood Avenue.
Longwood Avenue, right there. Yeah, off the 6th Street.
And all these neighborhoods, and you had to know how to fight, whether you know how to box or whether you know how to wrestle or whether you know how to put somebody up and throw somebody down. Yeah. You had to know how to do some kind of, or at least do it, right?
Yeah.
Yourself.
Was that the first PAL that you went to? The one over there on in that area?
In St. Mary's, there was a PAL on Kelly.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
On Kelly. But I was very young for that one. So I wasn't too fond or have too many memories of that one.
Okay.
It's the one in St. Mary's that I had more memory of.
That's different than Betances, right?
Yeah, Betances was like, it wasn't even a PAL. Betances was right across the street from.
Right. Ponce?
In the center of, like you have some buildings, they have a little center downstairs where they throw parties and stuff. So that was what Betances was.
Okay. Ponce La Espina? Familiar with him? No.
Can't say.
Okay. I know he used to run that, but wow. Okay. Cool. I always thought you were Brooklyn through and through. So I learned something. Wow.
Oh man, you see, hopefully your viewers and your listeners, they learn something, and
Cool.
as well.
So
My
fast
sister's
forward.
still in the Bronx. My sister's still in the Bronx. My mother's in Manhattan. So,
Okay.
you know, still out there.
Okay.
Okay. So making it to the semifinal, being the runner-up in the Golden Gloves, it's a major accomplishment. Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, fast forward when I met you, I want to say might have been 2007, 8. Am I wrong?
I'm not. Hey, listen. It's been a long time. I've taken.
Yes.
You know,
I don't have many brain cells left.
give or take around there.
Yeah. And I remember when I first met you, I mean, we would go to these club shows. BoxingTalk.com, which was, with Greg Leone, put us on. And I remember I was more on the writing side. And then videos, guys doing on the spot interviews with fighters. And I met you, and on a light day, you would do like 5, 6 in a club show. And some nights you would put up like 8, 10. And I was like, he's an Energizer bunny with a mic, you know? Tell us about that. Do you remember the first event you covered?
The first event I covered wasn't really a coverage, right?
Okay.
It was a tag along. And I went to see Acelino Frietas in Connecticut. I want to say it's when he won the title against Gregorio.
Mm-hmm.
And I went along with Greg Leone of Boxing Talk. And from day one, the access was noticeable. Diego Corrales, Winky Wright. We were sitting with the president of WBO, Francisco Valcarcel, right? And it was like, wow, fighters were coming up to the hotel. We didn't even have to go anywhere. So that was an event where I kind of like tagged along just to see what was what. But the first event that I covered that they say, hey, you want to do some coverage? That I said, yeah, was Madison Square Garden, Felix Tito Trinidad against Ricardo Mayorga.
Wow.
And so on that day, when he told me if I wanted to do it, I got a camera, a little Sony camcorder, extra batteries, some tapes. And I came out of there with 13 videos that night. And that was the start of like really the rolling of, and this is pre-YouTube. This was before YouTube. This was, before it even came a concept of putting videos on YouTube. We were doing this. And I got 13 videos on that night.
But it's amazing that, it's hard to think of a world without YouTube, but yes, at one point there was. And then uploading footage, it doesn't seem that long ago, but we're talking about 20 years ago, just about, almost, about 17, give or take.
Yeah, man, it was a hassle. You would have to come home, then download the videos, then to upload them into the server, and then have to be up to make sure that the videos went through. It was a lot of work, but it was well worth it, right? Because before that, I was going around press conferences and boxing shows and events just as a fan. I got dozens and dozens and dozens of autographs and boxing gloves with autographs and magazines and ticket stubs and all type of different fan paraphernalia until I started then interviewing. Then I said, well, these interviewees will be my memorabilia, right? So I don't need the autograph. I don't need the picture. And that's how it was for me.
Oh, that's nice. That's dope because you got your voice and you got whoever you're interviewing's voice, and that's a memory right there.
That's it. Like and I've had the excuse me. I've had the honor of really rubbing shoulders with some of the greats of my era, right? So right now there's new faces and new fighters, and those I also hope to one day have in front of my camera and have the honor of speaking to some of the fighters of today. But like if you look back at the top pound for pound list of 2000 and let's just say 2008 at the time, I probably interviewed 9 of the people on that list, 8 of the people on that list, right? And so to be able to say that, and to be able to say that I've multiple times interviewed Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest of the eras, Joe Calzaghe, Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Bernard Hopkins. And then we can go back into the old timers, Jake LaMotta,
Wow.
Joe Frazier, Marvis Frazier, you know. So I've also done a lot of up and coming fighters, Golden Glove fighters, woman fighters, amateurs, you know, managers, promoters, sometimes fans. So it was just a lot of fun to be able to just have the interaction with people and see their love and passion for the sport.
And that's cool. And let me ask you a question. So like, so all those videos and stuff, are you still upload? You still got to upload them? Because we were talking the other day, and you said you have other stuff that you got to bring out from the past that you never did. Do you have to go through that process of like kind of uploading them up again? And
everything is uploaded already.
Okay, cool.
You know, go through the process of looking through, separating, you know, editing, stepping, because like a tape might be, you know, 90 minutes, and I probably got the whole 90 minutes full. Right, so I would have to go through it, see what's what, then go through what's already in YouTube, go through the archives and see what's there, and if it's not there, then I know that it's a new piece, and I found a few of them already, a few jewels.
Nice. Okay, and then obviously you're continuing today. You know, you got your podcast, and you're going to be interviewing fighters. I saw 2 recent ones. I just saw you do one with Paulie Malignaggi, and I seen you do with Chicken Sharita Metcalf. You know, so I see you're starting back up, and I mean, as for me, starting back up because Sock just put me on, you know, a couple weeks ago, and I've been, you know, looking through your stuff. But I'm assuming you're going to continue and do more and more interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Starting back up is the right word, right? And I'm starting back up and getting my feet wet. And in those interviews, Paulie Malignaggi, he's someone that I wanted to start my podcast and my show with, because he and we have a history, and he was one of those fighters who I watch grow, nurture, and go from being an amateur in the Golden Gloves to becoming a world champion and getting multiple fights and fighting on big platforms. So it was an honor to have him on, first and foremost. And then Sharita, I watched her when she won her IBF Intercontinental Championship on a Tuesday night. I went out to the city and I enjoyed myself in a black tie event. And so it was an honor also to have her on, and for them to help me, you know, open the doors, right, into other things. But I've noticed that it is hard to get some people to come on your platform, because a lot of fighters have their own platforms.
Yeah.
Fighters are breaking news and talking to their viewers and their listeners. And that's great, and that's respected and commended. But what they're doing is they're reaching out to their fans. When they come on channels like this one and channels like mine, not only do they reach their fans, but they also reach new fans and new faces. Maybe who didn't know about you, somebody who didn't follow your sport, right? But, you know, either way, it's going to work out. It's going to work itself out when people realize, you know, the work that I put in and the work that I'm going to start putting in. It's gonna work itself out.
That's amazing. That is something, because how quick the world moves. Because fighters, I mean, the press obviously plays a big role in building up a fighter's image, the reputation, you know, and they could build you up and also tear you down. But now fighters have their own platform, thanks, you know, to this, right? And just social media. And I remember back in the day, to get an interview with somebody, you have to call, you know, the PR person and, you know, be on the phone with them. Now, you know, fighters just through social media, they break their own news. So it's amazing how quick, you know, that has happened. You know, how fast this world moves.
Yeah, we got to use press and media lightly in these conversations, because a lot of the things that I see, you know, it's not, and maybe I'll speak about it and maybe I won't, right? But some media, you can see and hear the bias, you can read the bias, you can see that, you know, they cater to certain promoters and certain sides, right? and some of them don't even try to hide it. You know, they champagne for certain fighters and don't respect other fighters if it's an opposition of their fighter. So I see a lot of that. So I'm hoping to bring across the board a fairness, unbiased channel that's going to bring you knowledge and analysis of different fights and fighters, and hopefully bring you some of the best interviews like I've done in the past.
Yeah, you have to be objective.
Yeah, and I think that's what YouTube kind of opened up for a lot of people, because, you know, a lot of people are doing content and doing, you know, these type of shows, whether it's boxing or football, baseball, whatever, and it's, you know, to open up, you know, to fans of both sides, of both opinions, you know, whether you like somebody and don't like somebody, you know, to bring that fairness. And it's, you know, a lot of the media now, they cater to certain, you know, especially in boxing, they cater to certain fighters, right? And then, like you said, certain promoters, you know, but, you know, they don't put the whole truth out there, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, they may throw, you know, only one side of, you know, the coin instead of, you know, and not hear the other, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what we want to do as well. And, you know, D Free has a channel as well. And, you know, we you know, this is what we do. And it's fun, you know, because we like, you know, it's like an open discussion, you know, kind of a debate, open discussion. And you know, we just kind of like, you know, excuse my language, we shoot the shit, you know what I'm saying? So
it works. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure, it works.
Yeah. I think D is on mute.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, that biasness and stuff has always existed. I just think it's out in the open more, because people in the press were always afraid of being denied the access. So you're not going to write a negative story about Top Rank, or when you apply for that credential, you're going to get deaded. You know, you're not going to write about a certain fighter because, you know, the wolves have ears, you know, and I've seen it firsthand. When we was at Boxing Talk, main events, and you're lucky I'm sitting down, because you probably see something else bigger too.
That's a friend of ours. That's a friend of ours. That's obviously.
Got you.
Go ahead, Sock. So I had to do it because I saw it. I was like, yeah, he came out of nowhere.
I had to respond. It's okay. At least somebody's watching.
We got a lot of people in the house today, Sock. So behave yourself, right?
No, I mean, like I was saying, I mean, biasness has always existed, because I think, like, we need access to these fighters, and if you're, you know, not writing fluff pieces, you know, it's very easy to get denied or get blackballed. But YouTube kind of has broken that mold. You know, it's allowed, you know, for a bigger platform and for people to speak, you know, without fear.
Well, that's what I try to do on my platform. I try to have it as unbiased as you could possibly have it. Of course, my co-host, he has, I don't know, he has this love affair with T.O. This man, he brings up T.O. in every conversation we have. But I have no problem with people having their own opinion on different fighters. I just wish that we can respect other people's opinion, because everybody got their own opinion. You might not agree with that fight. You might not agree with what they believe in with that fighter, but I see a lot of argument instead of compromising, and you could agree to disagree when you talk about these fighters, because I might like one fighter more than you like that fighter. You might like another fighter more than I would like that fighter, but we both like the same fighter. I just might like him more. We both like the same fighter, because I like T.O. I just certain things about T.O. that I don't like, but I respect him inside the ring. He's a hell of a talent inside the ring, and I give him all the praise when he does good, but I also criticize all of these fighters when they do something wrong.
And that's fair. I mean, and that's what we try to do as well. You know, and I think it's good to argue and stuff, you know, as long as it's friendly. I mean, listen, me and Sock, you know, as you saw Renee on the screen, Renee and a bunch of our friends, we're in the chat and we're arguing about sports all day, where, you know, it gets kind of disrespectful, but we laugh it off at the end, you know. But you see on YouTube, people come on people's panels and they're arguing and they're screaming at each other. And I'm like, oh, hold up. I mean, it's all for fun. It's all opinionated. D Free has a show. Obviously, he's mentioning he's talking about BBO, and BBO likes T.O., but it's very respectful in their show, and it's hilarious. Because I think BBO does some of this stuff on purpose. Actually, that's just my opinion. But it's fun, and I think that's what makes the show great. You need a good debate, and then people chime in the chat, and and maybe jump on the panel, and we converse about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember when I used to do fight parties. I used to do some epic fight parties, SRO, man. Sometimes like 50 to 60 people in the house, and same thing. Damn, I just lost my train of thought. But sorry.
Go ahead.
That's you.
No, I'm saying. Look, Renee says it's all love at the end of the day. Any one of us need a hand. The brothers in the chat will give you their shoulder, and that's true. Like we're all good friends and stuff like that. There's times I hate Renee, because Renee says stupid stuff. I mean, today he was great. He talked about Sock's forehead, and he was actually right. So the stuff like that is cool. But I want to first. Let me just for a minute. I mean, I guess Pete Dobson had some trouble getting in Sock, so I'm assuming we'll probably try to reschedule for another time. He did say he had a sparring early in the morning. He said 9 o'clock. He wanted to sleep early, but he said he was going to try to give us 15 minutes, but he had some problems getting in. So I just want to let people know, whoever came in to see Pete Dobson, we'll try to reschedule with him for another day. Maybe you try tomorrow or Sunday or something. But moving forward, I mean, I want to get back to you, Jose, real quick. Your podcast, what do you plan on doing more with your podcast? What is it? Is you going to do like a weekly, every other day? Or are you going to do lives? Like, what are you planning on doing? Yeah.
I want to do the trifecta. I want to do shorts. So right now what I'm doing is I'm feeding my algorithm a lot of shorts, right? And what that's doing is that's bringing my subscriber base up tremendously, right? A lot, right? Yeah. And I'm talking about, last week alone, I had 237 new subscribers in a 7-week period, right? So I want to do all three. I want to do shorts, I want to do long videos, and I want to do streams, right? Definitely the streams is something that when YouTube opens the first line of benefits, then I want to start streaming, because that's where the revenue is going to start kicking in.
Okay.
So, nice. Shows, streams.
We give a little game there.
Going to be on the fights, at the fights on location. When membership comes, I plan to offer different perks, anywhere from, phone calls from certain fighters to, instructional self-defense videos at the top level of membership, so there's a lot of different ideas and different ways we want to go. So maybe some live training, question and answers on a Friday, doing mitts, and so just all type of different things, but definitely just bringing good content that people want to see, interviews, and maybe some gym time, maybe some gym visits, maybe some Back to the Future old school videos that haven't been released. So a lot of different content and different avenues of boxing.
Nice. And then I don't know if you mentioned this, you're a PT, you're a physical trainer as well.
Personal.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you mentioned that, but I want to so the audience knows, that is also something that you do.
Yeah, for Fitness by Fire, boxing. We teach boxing and self-defense in the New York City area. So if you're interested, you can reach me at my Instagram. Just call me Fire.
Okay,
and
just call me Fire. All right.
Yeah, and on there, we can make contact. I also work with a site called Find Your Trainer, findyourtrainer.com, and Coach Up. I'm also working with those two websites as well. So it's one of the things I do.
Nice. And then obviously his YouTube channel, I have it pinned in the chat on top of the chat. Please subscribe to his channel. He does great content. I wish I had the Shushu interview again that you did with him. I would have played it just so they see that was you. They could hear the voice. But we did play it when we had Shushu on. He had a good laugh about that. And you know what? Tell us about that. Like that you in many ways you helped Shushu, in his interview process, and how to speak speak to people and do interviews like that. That was a big help for him as well.
And who knew, right? Who knew that by me doing something that I love, right, and giving a young kid who obviously was a boxing fan and a young fighter, right? Because he was at the event, giving a young kid time to shine in front of a camera, right? And in the beginning, it was just like, okay, young kid, 8 years old, let's just get him on. And then people wanted to see more of Shushu. And so every time we were able to get Shushu, we would get Shushu, right? And he became more and more articulate, more and more better with choosing his words and putting his words together. Then starting to get animated and making his motions follow his words, right? And so he always knew what he wanted to say. He always knew what to say. And some of the things that he said to me in my camera came to fruition. And he made a documentary, and a lot of my footage and my voiceovers was used in the documentary to build up.
That's true.
It opens up with me.
Yeah.
Documentary up with my sound, the train station, and then it's like from Brownsville by way of Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, you're right.
Carrington.
That was you.
And then my interview, right? I'm gonna go to the Olympics. I'm gonna and then it takes off from there. And and that in itself is an honor. It's great. I went to the premiere, and there was a question and answer afterwards. And I'm sitting back there. I'm just there I'm not expecting any accolades. That's just how I am, humble. But points me out and bigs me up, and it was very emotional to be able to see the things that you told me happen. And for it to be on the big screen, that was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and another thing I was going to ask you too, I mean, that's got to be awesome. And I mean, I speak to Sock obviously almost every day. He's my best friend, and he's done interviews and he's worked for Boxing Talk as well. And, one of the things he told me, and I'm sure it's a great moment, like these fighters, a lot of these people are media fighters, they meet so many people, and they interview with so many different people. How special is that for a guy like Shushu and then any other fighter to remember who you are when they see you, like to know your name, right? Like, they may be a face, but to know your name, how special is that? Like how do you feel when you approach one of these fighters that maybe you haven't seen in a while and they know your name, like right off the bat?
It's great because it was never really about me, right? It was always about them. But the connection was built because I was also a fighter. This is my belief. Connections that I built with these guys was because I was also a fighter. I wasn't your regular journalist. I wasn't your regular press guy. I knew what it took, even though it was at the amateur level, right? There's levels. Yes, okay. I'm not going to say that I was at those levels, but at the levels that I was on, I knew what it took, right? I knew the hard work. I knew the sacrifice. I knew the time that it took. So to be able to sit with somebody, they know, they feel. You know how they say real recognize real, right? So they know. So I think, based on that connection, it became something of, this guy's not just somebody with a camera. This guy's on fire. This guy knows what he's talking about. This guy knows me, right? Because every time somebody came in front of my camera, I knew them. I knew of them. I knew about them. And I always asked the questions that allowed them to tell the world in front of the camera about them as well, right? So, it's an honor. But if I wasn't remembered, that's okay too, because I remember, and this journey is about me, right? And so my journey and my life and my path is being filled with these things that I remember. And listen, some things I don't remember. Sometimes when I get together with people and they're like, yo, remember when this happened? I sit back, I'm like, tell me more, right? But again, it's great when they remember me and when they mention me, but the journey is mine, but it's always been about them. But it feels great, man. And a lot of fighters, they still remember, they still recognize, they still see, and it's appreciated always.
Nice, that's what's up.
Boxing, I mean, you're definitely you're part of that fraternity, and I think that definitely there's some credibility, an added credibility to you. Your nickname, where did it come from? Jose Aguirre. How did Jose Aguirre become on fire?
So it all came through in the 1996 Golden Gloves. In my first fight, co-workers, I used to work for a company, a messenger company, and co-workers came to see me fight. And one co-worker in particular, who was a very dear friend of mine who's no longer with us, his name was Aquino Del Valle. Aquino Del Valle, we used to call him. And he came to see my fight. He brought his wife and his kids, and it was a fight that I won. And then, ironically, during that time that the firemen had showed up, not for no particular purpose, but sometimes they show up, they hang out, they may be there for safety reasons, the ambulance, fire department ambulance. And he said, man, you were hot in there. You were on fire. The fireman came, and then he put the on fire with the way they used to pronounce my last name, which was Aguirre. He's like, you were on fire, Aguirre. And so at work, they started calling me On Fire Aguirre, On Fire Aguirre. And that's how I got the name On Fire.
Nice.
Yes.
It's funny, it depends where we are. I guess your last name could be pronounced however, but Aguirre, I remember the basketball player, Mark Aguirre.
Correct. So people correct me because my name is supposed to be pronounced Aguirre.
Right.
Okay.
Aguirre.
Right.
But growing up, I heard Mark Aguirre, who used to play for the Portland Trailblazers, and I'm not basketball, so I may be wrong.
Right, and the Mavericks.
I heard them mention his name. And since that time, I started pronouncing my name as such.
Yeah.
Okay.
And whenever
I was about to apologize for saying your name incorrectly when Sock said it just now.
No, when I talk to Latinos and Latinas, they correct me. It's like,
I know they check, yeah.
Aguirre. And I'm like, yeah, no. Yeah.
I got one more question, and maybe we could. If anybody else got questions, but can you name some of the fighters you may have sparred with that have maybe former champions you may have sparred with, or been in a ring with?
No. Early in my career, I sparred. I used to train with Hector Roca. I sparred with Zab Jude. I wouldn't even call it a sparring session because my nose got bloody and it was over. 1, 2, 3. Zab was an amateur.
Wow.
And I met Paulie. Excuse me. I met Paulie Malignaggi on the D line of the 18th Avenue train station. We were both wearing Gleason's gym shirts. We were both amateurs. Paulie and I used to train in the park. He used to come to my house. We used to watch fight. I used to have a big collection of fights. We used to sit down and watch fights. We used to analyze fights. His favorite fighter was Arturo Gatti. We used to watch Arturo Gatti fights. I used to talk to him about nutrition and how to refuel his body and how to feed himself, for the grueling training of boxing and the preparations in order to do battle. Paulie Malignaggi was another guy we sparred unofficially because we sparred in a park. We didn't spar we never sparred in a ring.
Okay. What about I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say Collazo. I thought you did you work with
no, I never really worked with those guys and sparred.
Oh, okay.
No. And then I fought Gabriel Bacero in the Golden Glove finals, and he went on to turn professional and put in a couple of fights in the 140-pound, 147 around their division. Okay.
Nice. All right. I don't know if you guys got any other questions. This was pretty cool. We got fights tomorrow. We got some news going on. Some Twitter news, right?
Yeah.
Everybody. I think the latest is what everybody's talking. Sock, I'm going to put up what you sent me.
There's no rematch between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, right?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys could see that. Yeah. And Terrence Crawford made a quote there about the Spence fight. So we're basically going what Terrence Crawford is saying, not more of what Spence is saying. Terrence Crawford is basically saying that he feels like Spence is going to move on. He's not going to do the rematch.
Well, early in the week, he had the cataract surgery. So, I said it months ago. I think Errol Spence should just enjoy the rest of his life. You know, I don't. I think he's made good money. He's got a young family. I think the way he was beaten single-handedly. I mean, it's just so lopsided. Rather, I can't see a rematch being competitive, and I don't think fighting at a heavier weight, being older, sprinkle on, of course, the effects of the car accident. I don't think he beats anybody at 154. That's the higher echelon. So
Listen, pick the right guy. Andre Berto, Robert Guerrero. Pick the right guy. He could come back and do the right and also fight and win. It won't be something we want to watch. It won't be something we want to see. We might watch it. We might not want to see it. We'll watch it. But
yeah, right.
They'll
Well, according to Earl, he told Bud to either fight me or retire. He said Earl wants to fight. He told Bud
he does.
to fight him or retire.
Go say that again, D-Free. Sorry, you was breaking up a little bit.
No. Oh no, I was saying Earl told Bud to either fight him or retire. He wants to fight. He's not putting the fight off. He said he wants to fight because the cataract surgery it only takes 2 to 3 days to heal. It's up to 4 weeks to fully recover from. But he's saying he wants to fight because they haven't came up with a fight date yet. So he still wants to fight. Bud is the one saying he doesn't want to fight more. So Earl is saying either you fight me or you retire because they have a crack in place. So Earl said you can't fight nobody else without fighting me first. So he's telling him fight him or go ahead and retire.
So is that one of those contracts where the rematch must be, or I mean that's crazy. I don't know how that would work. I mean, because how much longer could Bud wait, right?
Correct. I mean, you would have to go back and then rediscuss what's going to happen. Maybe take an interim fight and then guaranteed. But it's hard to say, right? And with a lot of back and forth on Twitter, it's still hard to say because no matter what they say, it's ultimately not up to them. Yeah. And the people who it's up to are not on Twitter telling us what's going on and what's going to happen. And that's the bottom line. We can want to fight as much as we want one. The fighters want it as much as they want it. But if the promoters can't work together, that fight's not happening. If no one's going to buy the fight and with Showtime out the door and nobody knows who's going where, where's the money going to come from? Everybody's probably sitting back, training hard, waiting for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia to call. So, it's hard to really say. And fights are not made. Some fights are made, and you may think they're made on social media. Sometimes maybe we think that way, but nah, everything's behind the scenes, man. And if a T ain't crossed and an I ain't dotted, and if a number's wrong, either up north or down south, we might not have. There was a lot of fights that we didn't get because of stuff like that.
I think Greg would disagree with when it came, because I think he took a lot of credit for Floyd and Zab hooking up. I don't know if you remember that, Sock. Didn't Greg take a lot of credit for Floyd fighting Zab?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, honestly, right? Greg was involved in making a lot of fights happen.
Okay.
That's no joke, right? I was behind the scenes. He knew what to do. He knew how to connect who with who, how to when the chats would come, he knew what he would do. So there was some fights that he was instrumental, and he got paid in making. Socrates, you agree with me or?
Yes, one that pops up. He helped. Well, we could bring him on. Raul Marquez during his comeback. I remember the fight with Shane Mosley. He was instrumental.
Correct.
He managed a heavyweight, right?
Huh?
Did he manage a heavyweight at one time too?
I don't know about a heavyweight. Gene Pascal.
Well, I know I think he was very friendly with Monty Barrett.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Monty Barrett. He was kind of like a pseudo advisor. You know.
He was in the corner for one of his fights. I remember that. I forgot who he fought, and Greg was in the corner of Monty Barrett.
I think when he fought in England, was it? It was somewhere overseas.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
Yeah.
Monty didn't look good in that fight. I know
It had
that.
to be late in Greg's career.
I'm sorry, brother.
It had to be late in Greg's career where he was starting to go inside the ring and starting
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Right. He started right. He he was yeah, that is true.
That young, let me tell you something. That young kid, Greg Leon, when I met him, G Leon, man, I will always love and respect that guy. That guy had a mastermind, man. He had a mind, like he had fighters wearing his shirt
Mm-hmm.
on HBO, on Showtime, on ESPN,
Yeah.
boxingtalk.com. When you said that, it was all over.
Yeah.
Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield. We're in the boxingtalk.com. Hello. We talk about, you don't even have to be a boxing fan to know Evander Holyfield. You talk about one of the biggest personalities of the 20th century.
Diego Corrales wore it, Riddick Bowe wore it, Jeff Lacey wore it, right?
Really? Okay. I didn't know Riddick Bowe wore it. Okay.
Yeah, some guys, he had all of them wearing it. He had all different colors and all different.
Yeah. It was good times, and we hope to get him on the show. He's someone that I go back to high school with, so that's how I know Greg.
Greg?
Yeah, with St. Raymond's High School in the Bronx, Park Chester.
Yeah, he's not answering my DMs, that guy, man. So,
I've tried calling him. I'm gonna have to try to go another route. I don't know what. He's very out of sight, out of mind type of person, I think. But we'll get him on.
Yeah, I remember being a member of Boxing Talk, and like there was no monetary membership, right? So I remember being a member of Boxing Talk and being in the mailbag every week. That was an exciting thing, to be in the mailbag. And then they used to have chats, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember as a fight fan, I got a phone call from Antonio Tarver. I was one of the lucky members in the chat, and Antonio Tarver called me, and him, Greg, and I were on a 3-way, and that's how it all started. And I was still a fan at that time. Greg hadn't met me yet, and that was all through the website. And then the mailbag was something where you would write in to whoever was hosting the mailbag with your questions, your comments, and if your email got answered in the mailbag, it was a big thing back then. Like, yo, the mailbag, right? And
see, that's good to know, because I don't know how many times I wrote. I mean, Sock, I know Sock, and Sock had a few articles on there, like not as much as like Stephen Breadman. Stephen Breadman never returned an email. Like he never responded to me.
He had the mailbag thing. I would do more like features.
I used to write to him like on the site, like the way, like I guess it was the comments in the article, right? I think that's how it worked. But I remember writing, because I liked his stuff, Steve. And obviously, look, he's a trainer, right? He trained some fighters, he trained champions, But yeah, Breadman. If you could get Breadman on, I want to give him a piece of my mind.
Yeah, that's my email.
Stephen Breadman, but all right.
Yo, let me tell you something. Honestly, this is the honest truth. When I was doing, and Sock, correct me if I'm wrong, when I was doing these interviews, Boxing Talk got so big that I had to have security, because everybody wanted to jump in front of the camera. Everybody wanted to be here. I lie to you not. I had guys, because people would want to come in and jump in. And not only that, if you look at my videos, most of what I got is exclusive stuff. What I mean. So a lot of times during press conferences and post-fight press conferences and media events, they do what's called a round table. And everybody gets their videos and everybody gets in their questions. Boxing Talk made it so I didn't need to participate in those things, because I would always get my exclusive by myself and nobody else was filming and nobody else was asking any questions. That's how it was.
And they needed that. This is before Instagram. This is before you could jump on a live and talk a whole bunch of mess. The fighters needed that platform still.
Roy Jones stopped Trinidad at Madison Square Garden. He came to the post-fight press conference. he was bombarded by media. I didn't rush in. I waited a few seconds, minute or two maybe. I put my mic up. I said, yo, Roy. And Roy immediately, and I got that on footage. I'm going to find it. Roy immediately made his way to me.
Wow.
And it was on his birthday. He had just stopped Trinidad. I spoke to him 2 days prior. And so, yeah, that was big, man. That was.
Well, I don't think he stopped Trinidad. I think he won decision. So,
He dropped him a couple of times.
he dropped him a couple of times, but I don't think he stopped him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sitting ringside with another old colleague, Ray Campbell.
Ray O. Campbell. He's still involved. He's out there in New York City.
Yeah.
Kids. He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
He's still working with Ishe.
Yeah. Yeah. Salute to Ray Campbell. A good guy.
Another OG.
Yes.
Right? So it was Greg Leon, Socrates Palmer, Ray O. Campbell, Jose Aguirre.
Scott Schaefer. We got to shout out Scott Schaefer.
Scott Schaefer.
Yeah.
Scott Schaefer.
Yeah.
Man,
Good
that was a ride, man. Good times, man.
What about your experiences with Floyd Mayweather? Because you was telling us on the phone a little bit of that, like how Floyd Mayweather was with you.
Floyd Mayweather. When you hear the word pound for pound Picasso, you could bet your bottom dollar that I'm the one who said it first.
Wow.
And I'll put that on everything. So the Floyd Mayweather, that came through boxing talk as well. But that also came through my work ethic. Because when Floyd was ready to fight Gotti, he was doing a lot of press and we was doing a lot of coverage. And I was doing a lot of the covering of the days leading up to the fight in Atlantic City, covering press conferences, workouts, and things like that. And on that day, I interviewed everybody but Floyd. I interviewed Roger. I interviewed other fighters and other people that were there. Floyd left. But then Floyd came back to tell me that he recognized my work. He didn't give me the interview. He recognized my work and he took a picture with me. 2 pictures we took. And then he left. And then the next day, I was at the HBO offices in the basement, exclusive, just him, me, some lady. I brought my friend Daoud to hold the camera. And while he was signing autographs for the HBO upcoming fight with Gotti for the, because he was signing gloves. They had boxes of gloves. He was signing it. And while he was signing gloves, I got my exclusive interview with Floyd Mayweather, the first interview with him.
Nice.
And then right after he beat Arturo Gotti on his first pay-per-view, I was the one to get the first interview. And the first words out of his mouth were, "On fire, we did it."
Wow.
And you can go back and you can look at the video. It's there. "On fire, we did it." Why? Because 3 days before he told me he was going to do it. And during that video, he's like, you guys got one of the best shows. And I'm willing to come on this show. And I'm willing to send you guys gloves and T-shirts and all that stuff. And in the end, he says, you're on fire. And tonight, I believe I was on fire. Mm-hmm. And the relationship, again, questions, the questions that I was asking him, right? I also was able to get an exclusive with him before he fought Ricky Hatton, just me and him in a room, right? I got to get the exclusive interview with him when he fought Oscar De La Hoya, right? There was one point where I kept asking him because he was doing other things. They were trying to take the microphone off of him. They were trying to catch a train. And while he was doing all that, I'm trying to start my interview before they take him away from me. And I'm like, "Yo, Floyd, is this really your last fight?" And then his publicist come in. "Come on, we need the mic. HBO needs their mic. Yo, Floyd, is this your last fight?" Then somebody else, "You're going to miss our train." And then a third time, "Yo, Floyd, is this your last fight?" And he turns to me and he says, "Come on, man. You interview me all the time and you do a hell of an interview. but you can't keep asking me the same question. And I was like, oh, well, you ain't answering me. And then he went on to answer me. So I think the short times that I got to spend with Mayweather, I think it was, again, the knowledge and the questions that I was bringing to him, and it wasn't a regular, you know. And the first time that I saw him in the HBO offices, I had my silver gloves on. And he said, oh, I see you. I see you know your thing. You got your little gloves around your neck. So again, I think it was that connection of fighter to fighter, right? Because a lot of times you hear fighters say, man, if you ain't been in the ring, you don't know nothing. I might not agree with that, right? But that's what most of them think. So I think that's what it became, that connection. But man, it was awesome, man, to be able to film him training. And there's a few times like I was filming him doing some workouts. He'd come to my camera. He starts doing things in front of my camera. Another time I was doing an interview with him. He flipped the viewfinder of my camera around. Oh, so it was like, you know, it was good. He was always cordial to me. He was always nice. He always gave me the right answers and the right interviews. And it was great, man. I can't. Could you imagine like Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah.
Multiple times, exclusively. Yeah. Man, I don't even need no picture, no autographs, but you know, that's it.
I mean, that's the part when he goes, you know, a fire, we did it. That's a great moment right there. I mean, that's awesome.
I was part of it.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was busy running the video, and this is him working out, and this is him hitting the bag, and this is him hitting the mitts. That was all part of the promotion.
Yeah.
So we did do it, right? We went along for the ride. We did do those things. And it was great.
Nice. So before I guess we go on, I know I just keep coming up with questions, but are you looking forward to going to any fights coming up? I mean, there's a fight February. We're looking to go to that one. The one
February 16th, Foster.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be there. Either if I get my credentials or I get a ticket, I'm going to go. So I don't know if you're going to be.
Yeah, most likely I'm in the building with a ticket. You know what I'm saying, for now. But, you know, expect me. And even though, listen, credentials are good things, but when we were credentialed, the only thing that would really help for is the after, because we would never be in our seats. Never. No. We would always be around the arena grinding, getting who we could get. Right?
Yeah.
So, as long as I'm in the building, I can get that fire content.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope. So I expect to see you then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Geeko, next week. What's up?
Look for me. I may have all my belts.
Nice. And Geeko, next week we should bring in Ofacio. I mean, to talk about his fight. He's going to fight on the card.
Yeah, it's a good card. Definitely a local flavor. Ofacio Falcone, a fighter that I've been working with. He's slated to be on that card. There's also another gentleman I'm interested in.
On what date?
On the 16th. On the 16th. He's in a 6 rounder. He's 10-0, 130 pounder. He's fighting. I can't remember the gentleman's name. He's a Mexican fighter with a good record, 11-3.
Okay.
So, it's a good showcase. You know, you get a chance to be on at least ESPN Plus. I don't think it's part of the main broadcast, but you know, ESPN Plus. Probably
be able to fight on the undercard of that, you know, of that spot. You know, it's hot.
Yeah, and he's a good young man, good promising prospect. You know, like I say, he's 10-0, tremendous work ethic, good father. His father trains him, Ofacio Falcone Sr. Just a real decent kid, you know.
All right, I'll take your word for it. We're gonna look forward to seeing him put in that work.
Yeah, and maybe get him on your show, you know, before that.
Well, bring him on, man. We get the right questions to him asked, and so he can let the world know, you know, his thoughts and what he thinks is gonna happen on the 16th.
Nice.
Since we have you here, tomorrow we have fights, right? We can talk about the present, you know. What's up with D3? I see his mug.
He's on mute. He might be busy at the moment. I mean, I'm not
okay.
too sure.
Well, we got Better Biev and Caleb Smith. How does that go down?
You know, I'm of the notion that anything can happen, right?
Right.
So on paper, you know, and I'm not too high on giving accolades to people too soon because they have a record of 20-0, 25-0. But that's not the case here, right? So Beterbiev is a hard puncher, but I'm looking at the size, right? And I'm looking at Callum Smith. And yes, I know we saw the size didn't make a difference against Canelo Alvarez, right? But I like Callum Smith tomorrow, man. I like Callum Smith to use his height and his reach and touch that chin, man, and show a little bit of that power that we've seen glimpses of with Callum Smith, man.
And what about the youth? I like Beterbiev. I root for him. You know, John Scully, who we had on the show last week, you know, has been working with him, but he's almost 40, or he's 40, you know, and at one, you know, it's gonna show up. That's my only fear.
Well,
he's 30. He's 38. I mean, I know you like to round off, but he's 38 years old.
And we haven't really seen him take too much punishment, right?
But he was in a war with Yarde.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So one fight, right? But
and what's his name too? The guy from Staten Island,
Joe Smith,
his girlfriend.
Oh, Joe Smith?
No, the one that slaps. We know him for the dude that had the DV.
Don't recall.
From Staten Island. Marcus Brown.
Marcus. Oh yeah, before Joe Smith. Yeah,
right.
He did. Yeah, he got in trouble for. Yeah, you're right.
You know.
Forgot about. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Damn, sock.
Come on, man. I'm not that punchy. You know. But,
so yeah, Callum Smith for the upset, if it's an upset.
But you know,
he's 5-1.
Yeah,
5-1. You never know.
You know, but this is the thing I wanted to ask Pete if he got on, because Pete hadn't fought in a while. Callum Smith hasn't fought since August of 22. He didn't fight the whole 2023 on Callum Smith. Now I know Beterbiev hasn't fought since last January. That's a year, but he hasn't fought since June of 2022. So that's a long way off. Yeah,
activity matters, man. Activity matters. Activity matters.
Yeah,
you know?
So I don't.
It does.
I think that's one of the factors. I think Beterbiev is going to stop him. I'm picking Beterbiev to win in like the 8th, 9th round.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, I'll be making crazy picks because if everybody's going for the same person, where's the debate? Where's the fun? Yeah. So
you could say I got this guy, but I could see how this guy could win. I mean,
right.
That's fair.
Yeah, I can't call you crazy because we've seen crazy things happen, right? We've seen go down. We've seen Mike Tyson go down. We've seen Michael Dokes go down. We've seen a lot of people who were winning, who were there,
who can't lose. Yeah,
you know.
And, hey, the upset of the year happened a couple months ago, last month, when Espinosa beat the Cuban Robisi. That was a major upset.
That was a big upset.
That was in Miami, which is pretty much little Cuba, right? And he was a big time favorite. That was another big upset. So
that was ugly.
Upsets do happen, but I just think Callum Smith, the inactivity is going to really hurt. And he got pounded and hurt by a smaller, guy. And Canelo hits hard, but he doesn't hit as hard as Beterbiev. So
yeah, that's an excellent point. And I think Callum Smith was kind of like the moment was too big for him. Like the lights were really bright, and he didn't know how to react when he fought Canelo. Mm-hmm. I don't think this is going to be the case, but like you said, I think Beterbiev is he's a monster, until proven otherwise.
Yeah, well, as soon as it's proven otherwise, guess what? People are going to try to throw him to the side of the road.
Yeah.
Right? Because they themselves put a fighter in a certain stratosphere in their mind. And so when that fighter doesn't live up to what they put as an expectation in their mind for that fighter, then all of a sudden that fight is no good. That fight is washed. That fighter should retire. And I'm not for that. You know what I'm saying? One defeat doesn't, so.
Well, yeah, and that's like the new trend now. The last couple of years, like a fighter loses a big fight, and it's like, he's got to retire. And I agree with you. That's unfair.
That's how I kind of feel about Spence, but I think there's some other factors with Spence. I think Spence, outside of the ring, has not been his own best friend. He's kind of lived recklessly. You know, I
I
think
think
that's
that was
also a
one of his
factor.
tweets. One of his tweets was that he said he didn't exactly live a clean life. Now, I sense when he did that, there was a sense of sarcasm in there as well. But it is factual. He hadn't lived the cleanest life,
But
for a little while.
not many of those fighters do. Not many
That's
of those
true.
fighters, right? Because you fight at a certain weight limit, and then in between fights, you balloon up 40 to 50 pounds. So if you want to talk about not living a clean life, you're talking about most fighters. There's a rarity of some like Bernard Hopkins, who was always in line year round. Floyd Mayweather, who was always in line year round. Finito Lopez, who goes back and he was in line year round. Roy Jones, who year round was always in shape. So you had certain fighters who had it. But if you're talking about, again, not living a clean life, that's most.
Yeah, that's true.
Roberto Duran.
Mayorga, cigarettes.
Right.
Arturo Gatti didn't live a clean life. He was
No.
Borderline alcoholic. Right? He was alcoholic, right? I mean, so yeah, no, that is true.
I just hope we get Bivol and Better BF at some point, and sooner than later.
It's rumored, it's alleged that Bivol has signed his side of the deal to face Better Beef. All Better Beef got to do is win tomorrow night, and they're gonna Riyadh, Saudi Arabia with it.
I hope so, and I hope it's not another year, and because that's another thing. Better BF has not been active as well, a whole year, and he's turning. And Sakik, right? He's. I said he's 38. You said 40. He's turning 39 in a couple of weeks. His birthday's in this month, so. And
in activity, I mean, right now, activity-wise, the heavyweights are what's doing it. The heavyweights are who are staying busy, right? Anthony Joshua fought 3 times last year. He plans to fight 3, 4. Joseph Parker 4 times, if I'm not mistaken, last year. Joe Joyce, Zile Zhang twice last year. The only one that wasn't really active is I'm not sure about Jared Anderson, but Deontay Wilder was not that active. But Tyson Fury, he fought.
Usyk fought twice, maybe. He fought Dubois, and then was the Joshua fight the same year? Early in the year, so twice. Okay. Yeah. Fury fought, I think, twice, and then but one was
busy. They're staying busy, right? If you think about it, Tyson Fury he fought Ngannou, he's fighting again. Anthony Joshua, he fought Otto Wallin. He's already in line to fight Ngannou, right? On that card, the guy who fought Joseph Parker's coming back again. Filip Perkovic is coming back again. Jai Opatai, the former IBF champion, he's coming back again.
He's moving up to heavyweight. I don't think he's a heavyweight. Is he a heavyweight?
But the activity, they staying busy. They're staying busy. See,
and that's something that the old heavyweights used to do.
After a loss, Deontay Wilder, he's coming back already on March 8th. So they're staying busy. Hopefully, this will set.
Is that official? March 8th?
It's a rumor. Against Zhang. That's one of the rumors I've heard. That's your boy.
Zhang?
That's your boy, the trainer, Sean George, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That leaves Filip Perkovic for Joseph Parker.
That's right. I've heard that as well.
I mean, hey, it's that's how you get paid, is by fighting. So
and that's a good fight for both fighters. Zhang's looking for a fight, and then Wilder needs another fight right away, and hopefully he looks better, and maybe the active, him being in the ring last month, that would help too. So, you never know. It's in heavyweight, one punch does it. So
I said that in my last show, but listen, this can happen. Deontay Wilder comes back, looks spectacular against Zile Zhang for a little while, gets the explosive knockout, and they get people clamoring for the fight again.
Yep.
Right. We've seen it. Yep.
Most fighters that do good look bad before, right? Look at Holyfield. Didn't he look bad against Bobby Ches at cruiserweight? And then he wanted to fight Mike Tyson, and we're like, you're gonna die. And he does his thing.
And that's part of the reason why the opponents would take the fight, because they think it's a winnable fight.
Tyson Fury, he always does great after a bad performance. So I expect a spectacular performance for Tyson Fury against Usyk.
So you're picking Fury. I think I'm picking Fury as well. I'm rooting for Usyk but I think I'm with you. I think Fury's gonna win. But
Yeah,
I hope I'm wrong on this pick. It's just
I think he's gonna make that statement, but then we're gonna get the IBF involved, right? Because they're probably gonna make a move.
yeah, and I saw that video you did too. Yeah, because the most likely the IBF will be vacant because they don't really honor
rematch.
rematches. Yeah.
Now, what do you think about this? So, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford was slated for a rematch. So the IBF immediately stepped Terence Crawford, right?
Yeah.
But now that the rematch is not happening, shouldn't that be a reinstatement? I know it's ridiculous, and I know it's not going to happen. But think about it for a second. You took it from a guy who didn't lose it to give it to another guy. Would it be wrong to take it from the guy who didn't lose it to give it back to the guy who never lost it?
Or the guy
Makes
who never really defended it. There hasn't been a fight because who's has the title? Boots Ennis is the IBF now, right? They gave it to him. He hasn't defended it yet either. So, I mean, in the world now that we live in as fans, I guess the next fight we want is Boots and Crawford. I mean, there's no other fight at 147 that I want to see other than maybe the rematch, but Boots and Crawford. I think that's the next fight that has to be made.
I'd go for that fight. I'd go for that fight 5 days a week, twice on Sunday. But where are we gonna put that fight? Right? Who's gonna put on that show? Matchroom tried to reach out to Jerome Ennis to see if they could do something, allegedly, according to Hearn.
Mm-hmm.
But where are we gonna put it? Who's gonna promote it?
Yeah.
Who's gonna put up the cash? What's the location?
A perfect world. I mean, I know Crawford may not want to do it, but they should do it in Philadelphia. Philadelphia's a fight town too. Why not? I mean, it'd be pro Boots, but hey, man, if you're a fighting champion, let's do it. I mean, if I was a promoter, I think me personally, I would look to put that fight in Philadelphia. I think it sells. I think it does great numbers.
Agree. Let's say it sells. Let's say we go to Philly. Let's say it sells.
Mm-hmm.
Who we bringing to tell her who we're gonna broadcast it on, right? Who's gonna promote? Who's the promoter on top? So it's a lot of things are not worked out. Like the Amazon deal was supposed to happen with PBC for March 2024. We haven't heard not one thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So
we haven't heard. Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe they're gonna splash us on it where, hey, surprise, here you go. But why would they do that, right? So
I wonder if they're waiting for Tank to make a decision on somebody. I feel like Tank would be the opening Amazon card or Amazon fight. That's what I feel they're waiting for. But it's been a month already, right? Since the announcement, and nothing signed and nothing set yet.
Not at all. There's been rumors, Thurman, Styanos, Styanosis, and what?
Now, is it going to be like on like in a pay-per-view sort of circumstance, or is it going? Because I mean, Amazon is not a channel; it's just
So from what I understood,
streaming.
We were going to get the pay-per-view portions of the events, and then there was going to be a PBC series, which was going to show in like Canada and the UK, but it wasn't for us. So I don't know all the particulars, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I really don't know the particulars because they didn't say much except to say that they signed a deal with Amazon to stream fights in 2024. And I think it was like 12 to 14 events a year. And I mean, they could do it. They got over 150 fighters in their stable. But the lady who signed the deal with PBC is no longer with Amazon.
Really?
She's out the door.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I don't remember her name, but if you Google PBC Amazon deal, the lady's name will come up and I'll tell you she's no longer there.
Fascinating. Okay.
So,
I mean, I mean, obviously the people that run PBC are a lot smarter than me, but I'm surprised they didn't try to just go independent and like start some sort of app service, like the way, I mean, like Pro Box TV, something like that, I'm surprised, but
Yeah,
I guess they had the Showtime and
he's there to fund that, to get the people to do that. And yeah, it's weird. You're right.
but yeah. What else is in the news? I don't know if you guys saw Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
He got arrested, right?
Yeah, he's a hot mess. I
You got
mean,
with a ghost gun.
a ghost gun. He just entered rehab.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wish nothing but the best, man.
Yeah.
There's another guy. You can't say we didn't enjoy Cesar Chavez Jr. Whoever says that is gonna fit, because when the son of a legend came on the scene, we were all on that bandwagon, right? Up to a certain point, then people started jumping off, right?
I think in the beginning I was kind of like on, for a little bit, but then when I watched him fight, I kind of
we all won. Chavez Jr. What first, second, third fight looked good, having the knockouts. Then as it started to progress, we realized, because he's not his dad.
Yeah.
And what we expect is his dad.
Big shoes.
Yeah.
Big shoes to fill.
Oh, that started to change the transition of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy. His best moment might have been in a loss.
That's right. He stole the words. That right hand he landed on Sergio Martinez.
Yeah. In the last
changed
round.
Sergio's life. Because his knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hurt his knee off of that punch too, right? Yeah, that's what it was. And now he was not the same after that.
No.
Yeah. Even though I thought he hurt his knee, maybe the fight before, because didn't he fight in Argentina and
it was raining?
It was raining outside, and I think he kind of messed up his knee in that fight.
Yeah.
He's got good memory, man.
Yeah. Against the guy, some British guy.
It was a UK guy, yeah. But I remember it was outside, it was raining, and he was slipping and stuff. And some people said he lost that fight too. That fight was close. That was closer than what people, thought, because they both struggled. And Sergio was slipping a lot because of the wet canvas. So,
just to digress a little bit. Sorry, guys. Just me digress a little bit. But you guys are talking about that fight and the rain. My guy Tim Dog Fears.
That's I could not think of his name. How's he doing?
He's all right, man. He's not really communicating too much. You know what I'm saying? He's going through things right now, and I wish he would, because, but yeah. So Tim Dog Fears, man,
he was part of your security detail, by the way.
He was, and my longtime friend, but he was a boxing historian.
Okay.
He could tell you who wore what referee, what shorts, what punch, what knock. He could tell you everything. So a lot of times when we would go places, I'm burnt. So I'm like, yo, just give me a quick rundown. And he would give me a rundown, and I was, for those fighters that I didn't know, or even some like sports players, like I was able to do Brandon Jacobs and a couple of different other players, Carmelo Anthony. And so, he would feed me the information, man. And I miss that guy, man.
Wow.
Boxing historian, Tim Dog Fears.
Yes. Good character. I think I'm so glad that you mentioned his name, because I was like, yo, who's that dude? He was, if On Fire was there, Tim was not too far.
That's right. Batman and Robin, 10 Speed and Block Shoe.
Yeah, man.
My God.
I'm trying to think. Other than that, so we have tomorrow's fights on the 16th.
Tomorrow's 16th, and then I don't know if there's anything next week, but in 2 weeks is obviously the Conor Benn against Peter Dobson. That's February 3rd.
That's I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be a tough fight for Peter Dobb.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think much of Conor Benn, to be honest. But he does. I think he's a strong fighter, and I do think he hits hard. But I'm not the best of fan. And I think Jaime Munguia fights at the end of this month too.
Right.
That's a good TV fight.
Yeah.
That's two guys that are tailor-made for TV. That should be a good fight.
And we got a women's fight next week. Is it next week? Yeah, Natasha Jones and Michaela Mayer.
Yeah. That's going to be a good one.
That's a good fight, yeah. I don't know when's the last time Mayer fought. Mayer hasn't fought in a while. At least that I can remember. I don't think she's fought in a while.
It wasn't the Baumgartner fight, was it?
I feel like it was, but I honestly can't.
Yeah.
She lost to Baumgartner in a close fight, but I don't think she's fought since then. But I could be wrong. That I'm not too sure about.
So. And Baumgartner has been calling out Clarissa.
Yeah, have you seen the latest? They've been bumping into each other
Catty.
lately.
Yeah.
Huh?
Very catty.
Yeah, and they bumped into each other on a plane. They were on the same flight, and Baumgartner sitting down, and Shields is passing by, and they had like exchanged words, and it was like a jokey at first, but then Shields stopped and like could tell like Baumgartner was being like, you know, kind of like a jerk, you know. But if you Google, it's there. They've been bumping into each other. They've been at the I guess they were at a game recently in Dallas, maybe. Yeah. But that's interesting. They want to, you know, Baumgartner's been calling out people, you know, for a minute. She called out Serrano, I think, and she called out Taylor. You know, I think last year she called both those women out. Like she's been looking, you know, for a big fight. But Shields is bigger, and I think Shields has an MMA fight coming up, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think she's fighting an MMA fight.
And good segue, because on Fire, I know you were MMA and your channel. Is that something that you're gonna be covering?
Eventually, right? Combat sports as a whole, right? But it's something I gotta see. Something, you know, I look out there, I don't see a mix of both as much.
Okay.
But it's something I gotta see, right? My thing is, I actually know boxing. I know that, though I do have a background in jiu-jitsu. I did 15 years of jiu-jitsu.
I know you did.
So I can analyze and talk about and articulate an MMA fight, especially when it's on the ground. But right now, I'm going to just focus on boxing. But eventually, self-defense, because it's something that I also teach on a daily basis to different peoples in all walks of life, right? Self-awareness, situational awareness, self-defense, and things like that. So eventually, that'll be part of the repertoire of what my channel is going to offer.
Nice.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
I really don't have anything else right now, but
have anything else? Chilling. Nah.
First of all, I want to thank you. I don't know where I just want to thank you for coming on. It's been great. I learned some things about you. Sock obviously tells me, but it's always good to hear it from the source's mouth themselves. You know what I'm saying? I definitely love your channel. I've been checking out the content there, and I love to have you on again. You
guys want to talk boxing, I would love to come on. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity on your platform to be able to talk to your viewers and your subscribers. And hopefully those people can also visit over my page, tell us about that on YouTube and on Instagram, and check out some of the classic interviews that I have, some of the upcoming interviews, and just, you know, stream with me, come hang out with me, you know, chat with me during fight time, after fights. So a lot, you know, is coming to the channel.
Absolutely.
It's been a long time since I've seen you in person. You know, February 16th, you're going to be in the building. I'll be in the building, and we definitely will link up that day.
Definitely look for me. I'll be weighing 145 pounds, 5 pounds off my fighting weight in 1998.
So does that mean we can't buy you a beer?
Nah, I don't drink. I never did.
Okay.
He doesn't drink at all.
Oh, nice. So you're another Iceman. Iceman is the same way. Iceman doesn't drink at all, too. So
when's your birthday, Jose?
14th of May. Every 7 years, it falls on Mother's Day, unless it's a leap year.
Okay.
Nice.
Taurus.
Yeah. Stubborn.
And you're going to be 50?
I'll be 55.
55.
I'll be 55.
Nice.
Yeah, it's time to do some more challenging things. I got some Spartan races planned. I got a hurricane heat planned. So I did like 13, 14 Spartan races. I got a hurricane heat. I did like a 4-hour hurricane heat, which is like a 4-hour military style nonstop action. I'm planning on a 12-hour. So, you know, as you get older, you gotta start doing crazier things, you know.
Challenge yourself.
For Fire, sure. We got a question from Renee, our friend Renee. He says, "Hey, Fire, you recommend any place in Jersey for boxing? I have history and ground techniques, but not for boxing."
Hey, Renee, what's up? I appreciate your question and your engagement with us and with the channel. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Jersey, especially with gyms, so I can't answer that question. But just know that footwork, movement, and handwork could be done anywhere. But in terms of a gym, no, I'm sorry, I don't have anywhere to point you in the right direction for that. Good luck with finding one, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he said the Bronx is too far. That's why we never see him. He don't like. First of all, it's not that the Bronx is that much far from him. He hates the Bronx. He just doesn't want to say it. So
he's a Brooklyn guy.
He's a Brooklyn guy, but he hates it.
But he
sits on the Bronx any chance he gets.
He's bougie. He lives out in the burbs, and
he's bougie.
he moved out to Rahway.
Rahway.
I always think of the prison. I think of Rahway.
First thing you think of, there's nothing else in Rahway but
the Casa Rene, the home of the Knicks.
Oh man, that's our good friend Rene. Rene's a good dude.
So, Son, you know about this, right?
What's that?
You got to turn it the other way around.
Oh, it's the camera. It's doing the mirror. You got the mirror. You got the mirror image on. You got to change the. You could change that in the settings in the You could change it to not mirror set. You got to go to settings, camera.
Yeah, I got you.
And it's yours. It's probably mirror. My camera's probably checked. So to uncheck it. See if you can do it.
I was about to do a handstand, but you know.
Oh man.
Yeah, because like let me see mine. If I mirror my camera, you see how it turned?
I was able to read PAL, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did it say PAL, that article?
It's something about PAL, yeah.
This is gonna be cool.
Scroll if you hit the camera settings and scroll down, it'll come up. Yeah, it's still on the mirror setting. I'll try be a PAL or kids.
It can't be on mirror. I just took it off. It can't be on mirror. I just took it off. So this is an article that was written about me in 1998 in the Daily News Golden Gloves. So what this article talks about is, so as a youth, I was getting in trouble, right? And then there was an officer who was patrolling the neighborhood, right? And he was that officer. He was the sergeant of the narcotics division of the 72nd precinct. His name was Pat Russo. And he was that guy that was leading all the other officers against us little guys that were hanging out on the street. So eventually, I get in trouble. When I eventually then started to clean up my act and make my life go in the right direction, it led me to the PAL boxing at Sunset Park. Now, at the age that I went to Sunset Park, I was already 27, 28 years old. So I was ineligible to use that PAL facility because I was already past the age of 21. But because they knew me as the guy on the corner, they allowed me to use that facility. And unbeknownst to me at the time, while I was training for the New York Golden Gloves, Pat Russo, the officer who was responsible for everything that happened to me in the past, was now the director of boxing in the PAL. Right? So now the Daily News gets wind of the story and they talk about the things that transpired. And listen, things happen and they happen for a reason. Things could have been worse. You know, I was smart enough to know and make a change and make a difference. And so then we started working with this officer and they started closing up the PALs. And they started using me as an example of what the PAL could do for a person who came from the street and wanted to make a change. And I was making rounds with him when they were closing up the PALs, and we were talking to people in Congress and talking to mayors and things like that. But eventually the programs got locked down. But now Pat Russo runs a couple of programs in some of the worst parts of Brooklyn called New York City Cops and Kids.
Right. Mhm.
And the
And
principles,
Teddy Atlas is very big on that. He's very big involved.
principles are still the same, right? To get kids off the street, to keep kids out of trouble, to keep kids doing well in school, right? And hopefully have those kids become better working citizens and, you know, good human beings as they grow up in life. And so a program like that is the reason why I'm sitting here telling you my story.
That's awesome, man. That's
This story is one of many in which they wrote. So here they wrote about, you know, me having a daughter, me working a job, me fighting for the Golden Gloves, me losing, but being anything from a loser. So this story right here is pretty long. It did me some justice. It did me well. And it told a story in the way that it should have been told. 1998, Daily News, Dennis Hamill.
Dennis Hamill, right? I remember Dennis Hamill.
Yeah, and then when I fought in the Golden Gloves in 98, the next year he also wrote an article and they mentioned all the returning champions. But for my weight division, they didn't mention the champion. They mentioned me.
Mm.
And that was big.
Yeah, that's dope. You know, you should, I don't know, I mean, you have it, but what, you ever thought about maybe framing that and putting that in a nice little frame or something?
I have, that's a copy. I have an original inside of a frame, and I believe it's with one of my boxing pictures, but I have it laminated, framed. I got a couple of them probably.
Nice. Renee says, great story to tell your kids and grandchildren. That's
definitely,
awesome.
definitely. I got a 16-year-old son. I got a 32-year-old daughter. I got 3 grandchildren. My 2 oldest grandchildren, they know about it. My son, he doesn't really want to hear it. He's at that age where, you know, but eventually when he's able to say, Dad, you know, you're actually cool, man. I never really knew you were that cool. Then I could start telling him some of the stories that he will enjoy.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's very cool. Time flies, and you know, so earlier you mentioned a coworker that passed, and you know, tomorrow's not guaranteed. You know, so like those moments are special. When you come across special people in your life, you know, it's you have to cherish those, and you know, I appreciate knowing you. I mean, chronologically, almost 20 years I know you, you know, so I know we don't talk every day or we haven't seen each other physically in a minute, but, you know, I think if I saw you tomorrow, we could pick up right where we left off. So
Exactly. Good people always know that, you know, life happens, right? And once we understand that life happens, then we know it's not because you didn't want to talk to me. It's just because you couldn't talk to me.
yeah, you know, life, you know, life is important. You know, you got to live each day. The gentleman to your left, right, my left, or I've known since 6th grade. So
6th grade, yeah.
About that earlier.
Yeah, and Renee, I known for probably longer than I want to know.
Let me read Renee's comment. He says, I'm waiting on Sock's Hawk son to destroy these kindergarteners on the ESPN The Hawk Show. Oh, man.
I have a 3-year-old who's a healthy eater.
It's a big 3-year-old you have there.
Yeah. Thank you. We celebrated.
I can't wait till he starts playing ball. You got to put him in ball. We used to coach baseball. I coached baseball for like 12 years. Sock coached with me a few years, and it was fun. And then, you know, my son didn't really want to play. He played like a year. My daughter played like a year, and you know, so now Sock is next up.
I used to coach boxing. I used to coach boxing before I became a one-on-one personal trainer in self-defense. I used to coach boxing, and one year I had a young kid named Aris Mendes. His last name is a blank right now, but I had this young kid, and we made the Olympic trials, and we went up to Lake Placid to the Olympic Training Center. And that year, I was able to coach some young fighters, and them young fighters turned out to be Louis Collazo, Gary Stark, Curtis Stevens.
Wow, okay.
Mean Joe Green. There was a few, Saddam Ali, there was a few nice young kids in that junior Olympic team that, you know.
I saw that little clip of Saddam Ali you put up too. That's cool. Yeah.
So how young he was, he was so young. I got a lot of stuff, man.
I met him at the Canelo GGG presser, the first one. He was there. I met him.
Nice kid.
He's short. Yeah, he's short. He's a nice kid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was a great amateur. He was nice as an amateur.
Yeah.
Nice kid though. Nice parents. Nice father. Nice kid. He had a gym in Bay Ridge, like by the movie theater over here in Brooklyn. I don't know if it's there anymore, but yeah.
I see you, Jose Diaz. I want that Roberto Clemente rookie card, by the way. Yeah, he collects cards too. He's got some nice ones. But I think we're gonna cut it. We've been on for a minute, but I mean, this was great. This was dope. I mean, I know. Apologize once again. Pete Dobson couldn't make it. I think he had trouble getting on, and also he got a spot early in the morning, so he wanted to get some rest. You know, we do our show kind of late.
We'll shoot. We'll shoot for next week.
We'll try next week, or maybe because with the fight, his fight is in 2 weeks, so I don't know if he's going to travel to Vegas next week because the fight is in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken. So, and he's in, I think he's somewhere in Florida. He's training in Florida, right?
Yeah. So now is
maybe we hit him up. Maybe we could try something tomorrow and just.
Conor Benn is still suspended, right, by the BB.
He can't fight in the UK.
Right.
Yeah. It was kind of like, I think the same situation with Fury. I don't think Fury was allowed to fight in the UK for a while. That's why he was living out here for a minute. Really? You know, I think they're real strict on that, and you know, so for how long I don't know. So, but I guess we'll talk behind the scenes and we'll see what's up. Jose, we'll talk behind the scenes too. I got your number now, so I'll text you. Sock is always busy. It's hard to get. He's the most important man in the world. This guy.
If you want tomorrow, you want to hit me up. Let me know. I'm you know, want to go next week, let me know. Whatever, man. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Absolutely, I appreciate you being on. And I have his the link to his channel in the chat. And it's real easy. Tell us about that, right?
Yeah, tell us about that. So many more stories to tell you. I'm gonna have some of those stories up on my channel. I'm gonna come back here, hang out with you guys, and have some more stories over here for your viewers and your subscribers. And it's gonna be a fun time, man. We're gonna laugh. We might even cry sometimes, but the stories are gonna come, man.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about. You know, we usually have a football segment. So maybe we might come on tomorrow if we got time and do our playoff picks, even though the games start early, Sock. So I don't know.
I'm all for any other sport. I've never followed or had a favorite team or another sport.
Nice.
We'll see what's up.
One thing. I'm only good for one thing, one time on your show, and that's the fights.
That's the fights, and that's all that's good because we focus more on the fights than anything else anyway. We just try to open up for more sports and more time because we don't really want to talk about the same thing over and over. But as long as there's fights every week, we got new topics. You know what I'm saying? So
if it's everybody gets in where they fit in. So if it's football it is. You're gonna get those guys that's gonna tune in, right? Yeah. Baseball, basketball, same thing overall.
Yep.
That's right.
Keep doing your thing. Make it happen. I want to watch your channel grow. I'm going to support you. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to like your videos. I'm going to comment on your videos. And hopefully everyone who's watching does the same. Matter of fact, everybody close up the chat right now. Hit smash that like button, man. Let's bring those let's bring those likes up for this guy.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. That's a great look, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
We'll definitely be in touch. Yeah, and we're gonna see each other at the fight. It's a few weeks away.
For sure. We're gonna see each other a few times because hopefully New York will bring us some nice shows. You know.
Yeah, yes. Absolutely. Yeah, more shows because we haven't been getting a lot here in New York.
And we need those, man.
Yeah.
The only one boxing inside is those tickets be too expensive.
Word.
Yes.
For the Sony Hall,
for fights that not really, yeah.
Come on, what's going? And we tried to get I tried really hard, and the guy here to return the email. So the promoter.
Yeah, likewise for me. They know who I am. They know because one of those guys used to be media as well.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Let me just.
They know.
Anyways, they're lost.
All right, bro. Yeah. So let me ask you a question since you was there, because I was trying to look for tickets for that. And you mentioned it was a black tie event. The Jamel Herring card, that was an expensive card to get into? I couldn't find tickets for that. Because that same week, Maella was fighting 2 days later. And I remember mentioning, so we went to the fight that Thursday at the theater.
So it wasn't a fight for the regular public. It was a black tie event that was its guests and its participants were like people like Morgan Stanley and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was a black tie event. It wasn't open to the general public, but I got in via credential on that night.
Nice. Okay. All right. Because I was just curious because I was looking like, oh, I wonder how much the tickets were because it was Jamel Herring's comeback fight. It was an 8-rounder, even though I think he stopped him in the first round, right?
Yeah.
He stopped him first, but it was scheduled for 8, which I found weird for Jamel. And then there was a couple other fights in there as well. So
yeah, T.O. made an appearance in the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He usually comes. He was there Thursday too. If he's in New York, he goes to the fights. If the fights are, he was at the Maello fight that Thursday in the theater.
Right.
So nice.
So,
All right. So I'm gonna.
yo, it's fun, man.
Yeah, this was great. I mean, I learned a lot today too. So this is dope.
Time flies.
Yeah.
And Sock, maybe you could get. I know you said you're gonna try to get in touch with Greg. Greg would probably be a good person to talk to as well. So.
I think if Greg gets on, we may have to just. If you need to use the bathroom or go do something, just drop the mic. Greg will keep talking.
We need Greg. We need Sock. We need Rayo and myself.
Reunion.
Yeah. Would you get Steven on here too? Because I want to talk to him.
The bread man, we could
the
do
bread
it.
Man, yeah.
We get a hold of him.
Yeah. So I know he's busy too, because and I've seen him on some platforms as well. So he's been on some YouTube.
Yeah, he's doing
channels.
his thing. He was doing some stuff with Showtime, the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very knowledgeable. Like, I mean,
he is.
He was one of my favorite ones, and that wrote articles back then. Sorry, Sock, but he was.
Do you still talk to Ben Thompson?
Yeah, I spoke to Ben Thompson the other day when Ben Thompson realized that I was making a return. He was one of the first ones to reach out to me to wish me well, to let me know that this is something that I could do, and to show his support.
Yeah.
And let me know that if there was anything that he could do, if I had any questions, comments, concerns, that, we go way back, just like with yourself. And, I really appreciate that from him. It was important because, with the access that I had with Mayweather, he had seemed to be the one to have had that. Right. And I'm saying to myself, like, I don't know that he would even help because he would maybe look at me as competition. But I was so wrong when he reached out and he did that. It was great to know that, there's still people like that see that, because that's like me. If I see you prospering and great, anything you do, let's make it happen, man, because you could. And I'm gonna tell you, I was really sitting on my behind with this. AR, I don't know if you know AR. He was a guy that was always with Louis Collazo. Very short, used to have glasses, had kind of a limp. He has a podcast called Brooklyn Basement Podcast.
Okay.
And so he was the one who reached out to me. He said, "Yo, why you don't have a podcast? Why you don't have a show? Like, you got all this footage. You're the originator. You're the one who started this pre-YouTube. And because of him is the reason that I'm now in front of a camera talking into a microphone and starting to do all this stuff."
Look at that. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you don't think it's that long ago, but I'm like, there was a world without YouTube, without Instagram, without going live on Facebook, and we were doing it. Like I said, on a light day, you would do 18 videos. At a Broadway boxing. Broadway boxing really helped New York boxing. Every other month.
Tremendously. We saw some great fighters come through there. Bro,
the Manhattan Center. I can't remember the other venue they used, but Manhattan Center mostly.
Roseland.
Is it Roseland? The Manhattan, yeah. We saw Paulie's career develop. The Chin Checkers.
Andre
Berto. The two fights that stand out in that Broadway boxing, I remember the Gary Stark fight, where his eye was ridiculous.
I got that fight on tape.
Yes.
I got that fight. And I got the interview also. with
Okay.
that eye in
That's
the locker
crazy.
room.
Yeah, you know,
Wow.
I'll never forget that.
That was not Polano, right? That was not Polano.
I
I don't
don't
think
remember the
that's
dude's
Polano.
name. You know, so many good fighters came through there. Louis Resto.
It was Ledesma. It was Gary Starks Ledesma. I think he fought him twice.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, not Louis. Jeff Resto. Jeff Resto. So many good, you know, good memories from back in that, you know, that time period. You know, but yeah, I'm glad we're able to reconnect. You know, as we continue to evolve. Right. You know, we're part of this YouTube world and live streaming, and you know, uh, the sky's the limit, like they say, right?
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah,
You gotta change with the times, man, or get left behind, man. And
That's it. That's
that's
it.
true. Yeah.
That's
So
it.
here we are, you know, and
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who's doing what, you know, support your brothers, man. There's room for everybody to get it, man. You
yes.
is giving it away. Instagram is giving away, TikTok. So whatever it is that you're doing, just do it, man, because there's room for everybody. And support the next brother that's doing the same thing, even if he's doing the same thing you're doing. Give
There's
a brother
plenty of
out, man.
pie to eat.
Of course, man.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Me helping you does not hurt me one bit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Versa.
Thank you, brother.
Vice
Appreciate it.
I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for coming on, you know, sharing the stories. Tom, you got anything to?
No, you said it best, and I mean, I don't know how many times I can say thank you, but thank you. I'm very thankful for you to come on and, you know, share your background, share your story, and, you know, share what you're doing, because, you know, I'm into that. I mean, I'm on YouTube all the time, and what I mean by that is that I'm watching different people. I have friends that do the content, and they kind of got me to do it and kind of pushed me to get Sock to do it, you know, because me and Sock have been thinking about doing this for years, but we never really sat down and did it. And boom, we just started last year, and you know, we're taking off from there, and you know, 1 week at a time. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it's funny because, and before you go, I know it's late, but I was monetized in YouTube in early YouTube years very quickly. I was getting checks in the mail from Google, but I didn't see the bigger picture of it. So I let life happen and I did other things, right? And it wasn't my priority. But here I am ready to kick in the door and make things happen in 2024.
I feel you, and I think you will, and I'm gonna be there with you. I'm gonna ride the wave. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
Gonna come on my show after some fights, and we're gonna talk fights, and we're gonna do cross promotions and cross shows, and you know, shout
Yeah.
out. Yo, you watching my page? My man's covering the same thing over there. Go check him out. You know, that's what it's about, man. It's about that love.
yeah. D Free just said also D Free had some problems. He was in a bad area. I think he had to go get his wife from work. But I just want to mention this again. I mentioned it earlier. D Free's another guy that you probably want to have too. D Free knows boxing. He's excellent at what he does. He does great content. He does all sports with us. He's a sports fanatic like me and Sock, and he knows boxing. He's actually related to the Russells, to the Gary Russell, Gary Antoine. He's related to them as well.
Right there, those guys, man.
Yeah. So I mean, and he does great stuff, and he knows boxing, and he's a good person to have and speak boxing, whether he agrees with you or not. You know, he's good, and that's why I have him on here. Usually, he's with us almost every week. So I just want to say for those that came on, because he's sharing, he's casting on his channel at the same time. So they probably at his channel looking at us and like, "Where's D Free?" But D Free, you know, he had a problem in the area he was at. He went to get his wife. I texted him. He texted me back. So you know, so he's letting us rock out. But yeah, I just want to mention that because you know, D Free's, you know, he's a good brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that because he's a brother. I'm saying that because he's like a brother. He's been great, and he does great things. So that's another guy, you know, you're going to look out for.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm sorry that I missed him and his analysis on certain fighters and on certain fights, but hopefully in the future we can both get connected, right, and have a discussion and, you know, have our opinions and throw in facts, because a lot, right, if you throw facts, can't really argue that. Right? If you show bias, it's going to be known. So first and foremost, you lead with facts, right? And then you leave with an analysis of what the possibilities are. You might not get me to say who's going to win a fight. I just might give you the analysis, right?
Yeah,
So,
which is good. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's like, you know, the hottest division right now, in my
BB
opinion, is
Kings?
probably 140. But Renee had a question. Yeah, what's the spot in Times Square where they would do boxing at the closed door?
In
At that
BB Kings.
closed down. It was
yeah, BB King Blues Club.
That was the other spot I couldn't remember. BB Kings.
Blues Club. That was a good one. That was the spot where I went up to Al Heyman, introduced myself one day, and gave him a business card. Yeah, nothing happened. But tell me who else got that close to Al Heyman that you know?
wow, nice. Yeah, I mean, nobody's probably able to see what Al Heyman looks like.
And that's the thing. That's a win.
Mm-hmm.
That's a win. Nothing transpired, but that's a win in the industry. Who else? Who else got that close to shake his hand and give him a business card?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow, that's dope.
For sure.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so I just want to say that. But once again, thank you. We go around this time also. I'm trying to get Sock to do an earlier time, you know, and you know, maybe that's why Pete couldn't get on. But I know Sock has the Incredible Hulk 3-year-old, as Renee says, you know, that kind of destroys stuff over there. So I get it. But you know, that's what we'll talk. We've been trying to do another day as well. So
Yo, why Socrates looking up to you like we in the Brady Bunch or the
he's looking at the TV probably. He's like,
I am.
the TV's up there. If I'm not
That's a good rep for the Brady Bunch.
He's looking up at me like it's perfect.
Like,
you're talking.
like Greg or
So I got to talk like this, right? And now I'm talking to Saki.
You gotta look the other way. Yeah,
because it's great. Yeah.
Brady Bunch, right?
I know a person on YouTube that's good at that too. I don't know how he does it so spot on. There's a channel that I watch, and he does that so perfect. He's looking at whoever. If he got 5 people, but yeah, on cue too. But anyway, but yeah, man, thank you for being on. Everybody that came through, I want to say thank you for coming through. Everybody that came through on D Free's channel or my channel, thank you for coming through. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, but definitely like the channel on D Free's channel. And if you could come to mine, I appreciate that as well. And yeah, man, I just want to say I didn't get to shout out people. Usually, sometimes I shout people out, sometimes I forget because we get into it and we talk. So I apologize for that. I got to work on that. But I definitely saw everybody in the building today. And I know who you are. So.
Yeah. Let me do the closing.
Go ahead.
On fire and tell us about that. We're in the building and we thank you for tuning in to the show. If you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like and comment and tune in next week where we're going to have someone you would want to see.
Thank you.